welcome to the Doomsday Roundtable.
What?
Here we are.
Here we are. Today we're going to talk about some things that could happen, CMEs, EMPs, maybe computer viruses that kill the power. Things that could have caused what happened in Break Channel 13, the podcast. If you've been listening to that, fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we're just going to get this thing started. What we do is always unscripted. It's got kind of a little flow to it, but other than that, we just kind of are who we are. And most of you recognize that anyway. So let's start this off with CMEs. Oh, yeah, okay. I'm Hayden, also known as Jack.
I'm Chris. I've done a lot of things, but I'm mostly Miller.
He's done a lot of things he's not proud of.
I'm Patrick.
He's a new guy.
He's a new guy. I'm Mike, and I do Max.
You don't do math.
You do, Max?
Fun one.
Oh.
Takes alter ego to a whole different level.
Yeah, this is a whole nother round table.
Okay, so if we talk normally, we need some feedback. Is there anybody on there that can give us some feedback?
Robert just joined, buddy of mine. I don't know if he's going to say anything or not.
Okay, so what I
Hi,
need...
Robert.
Hi, Robert. So what I need to know is if we talk normally, a little bit loud, but just kind of normal, instead of yelling, can they hear us okay?
What they really mean is me, because I have a tendency to be quiet and mumble.
You're a mumbler.
I don't really mumble. I'm just quiet. Because, stop.
Ah, Rebecca's there.
Hi, Rebecca.
Hi, Rebecca.
Hi, Rebecca.
Would you like cookie?
You can wait my cookies. Dude.
They're not my cookies to give, I apologize.
Okay, yeah, Robert's there. Robert, how do we sound? Does it sound all right?
Well, he said hi, so that's good.
Yeah, it is good. Well, don't stop now.
Oh, okay, well, I wanted to know how loud I have to talk.
Oh.
I think that if we speak in a normal tone, we'll probably be okay.
Yeah.
And if not, then
Turn the volume up.
Yeah. Mikey's watching, so if we need to, we know we can get louder.
Alright.
Okay,
Okay.
so let's start off with the EMP.
EMP. EMP.
EMP, electric magnetic pulse.
Electric magnetic pulse.
You know what causes them?
It's science fiction.
Pat, is it science fiction?
It's not science fiction.
Oh,
it is
shit.
science fact, and it has happened several times in the past.
Has it actually happened, an EMP?
An EMP has happened several times in the past. Every time we have detonated a nuclear device anywhere,
Okay.
there has been an EMP to that particular area. When we detonated it over Bikini
Bikini
Atoll,
Island, yeah.
it took out power grids in Hawaii.
Wow.
They just didn't understand it at the time.
Oh, well, and
They didn't know what was happening on Hawaii, that
Sure.
what was going on with Bikini Atoll. But same thing with Russia and other countries who have tested. Every time there is an EMP.
So if it goes off on the ground, it's going to knock out the power. If it goes off 300-400 feet in the air, it's going to knock out
A much greater area.
a larger area.
Much larger umbrella.
wow.
So really and truly, somebody could pull their little boat up and launch one over either coast and take all the power out on that coast.
As long as they have line of sight. So because of the curvature of the Earth, once you get over a certain curve, then you'd be protected. Or if you're on the backside of a mountain range.
Right.
But
But the thing is that our electrical grid is fluid.
right.
Right. Yeah.
And it travels along the electric grid. So if you're on the backside of a mountain on that electric grid, your electric grid goes out, even though if you had, say, a freestanding automobile might be sheltered. But if you were plugged into the grid, like you're part of your house, it would get fried.
Right.
So what you're saying is electric cars are a bad idea.
If they're plugged in.
They're done. If you've got it plugged in, they're done. But the thing is that with that EMP, because that pulse comes out so viciously, it'll knock out computers and the cars have computers.
Almost every car has computers now.
Yeah.
So, well, I mean, for like the last 20 or so years.
So it's walking time.
Hence the reason why in Brake Channel 13, we're always looking for a damn car.
Right, and they're always old.
Yeah, super old. Yeah. Ah, good old petroleum.
Well, we'll get on the petroleum in another episode.
That's another episode.
Totally
Okay.
different episode.
Okay,
Okay, so an EMP is completely possible.
absolutely.
Um,
Well, what about okay, so when I said science fiction, you know, I'm talking about the more, you know, it's not a nuclear explosion. Like, it's not a byproduct of a nuclear explosion.
yeah, it is.
No, I know.
Oh,
but
I got you.
On a science fiction kind of level,
Okay.
you know, there have been EMPs they've had in movies and
Oh,
things
you
like
can
that.
you can create an EMP without the nuclear explosion. They've done it
Okay.
inside labs.
Okay.
But the most effective and easiest way to probably assassinate the masses
Yeah.
would be, because now if you've got an EMP, you're going to have more than just power going out. You're going to have that the radiation that comes out with that from that nuclear explosion.
Right.
And even if it's up in the sky, it might not be so bad as if it would for those people, but it's not
Well, you
good.
still got fallout.
Right,
I
it's
mean,
still going to come
it's gonna travel.
raining down on you like little pleasant burning particles.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Okay, but that didn't happen in Break Channel 13. We didn't talk about anybody having radiation sickness or anything like that.
That's true. Yeah.
Right.
So
So we can kind of take that out of the picture, although everybody
Well-
here knows it's completely possible that that could happen.
we say that though, but at the same time, our little chunk of planet Earth that we're exploring on Break Channel 13, once the power goes out and people stop communicating, how do we know that it wasn't a nuclear blast that happened on the opposite side of the country that started to take out things? I mean, aside from radio transmissions and people communicating in that way, that's one of the things that I think makes it terrifying, is that without our normal communications, our cell phones, even our regular phones and our computers and everything else, you have no idea what's happening anywhere else.
And that's bad. You've got some ham radios or some other people who have radios that were protected, because you pretty much have to have something like that in like a Faraday cage.
Yeah.
Or underground from an
Right.
EMP or a strong enough CME. So let's go to CMEs,
Okay, CMEs.
which is gonna happen.
You keep saying that.
It's gonna happen, man. When it's gonna
The
happen?
worst part about you saying that is you seem excited about it. So, it's gonna happen, man. You've been waiting for this my entire life.
Come on, CME.
Okay, so what is the CME?
Turn the power off for mama.
It's like you're just like some, just waiting for like your evil genius plan to take form, but you have to wait for the CME to start it all.
I know, and it's so.
Okay, so CME, what is it?
It's a coronal mass ejection.
Okay, that's
Basically, so you've got your solar flare, which is pretty, and it flies out, right?
yeah,
But then, you know how, like, if you get this really deep belch that comes out sometimes, and you're like, because sometimes you're like burp, and sometimes you're like, bleh.
and sometimes you actually throw up a little bit in your mouth.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I've had that.
So the sun does that.
Like Exorcist.
Yes.
So,
With the green pea soup and the flying around.
so it's Reagan, and she's possessed, and
Yes.
okay, so the sun vomits up this horrible
Solar energy.
solar energy.
Yeah, and it hammers instead of being diffused by our atmosphere like a solar flare would be. It can hammer straight through it.
Okay, so our natural barrier is not strong enough to stop it in
Right.
any way.
It's not gonna rip it off either, though, because of the way the particles come down. So it's not gonna rip off all your atmosphere. It's not like, oh, we're all gonna die.
Okay, so hypothetically, well, actually, you said that this has happened.
It has
It
happened.
has.
Okay,
It's happened. It's happened.
1859.
1859,
The Carrington event.
Carrington event. The Carrington event.
And I feel like the man with the notebook has looked it all up.
I think we're going to hire him on as our permanent research assistant.
I think he is our research man.
Okay,
Tell us, what do you know about the kid? Did you? first?
I did look up some things about the Carrington event. So in 1859, they had no explanation for what happened, but telegraph operators all over the northern hemisphere were reporting that their telegraph equipment started sparking, and the communication lines of communication went down everywhere. But
Okay, hold on 1 second. For people who are young and don't watch westerns, what is a telegraph?
the original form of communication, hardwired, where you go dee 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 dee.
They use Morse code, right?
Morse code.
Morse code.
And you are hardwired to one another.
If you've never heard of Morse code, you're gonna have to look that up because we ain't got time for it.
No time.
Okay,
So they're all hardwired, but fortunately, there's very few actual wires generally running along the railroad lines,
okay.
and the railroad operators would communicate to each other, and the major cities were kind of in contact with each other. But there were a few telegraph machines, and the ones that were there said they're all had the same phenomenon, that their machines started sparking at the connections, and then all the wires were fried and had to be replaced to get the telegraph system back working.
Do we know like how widespread this was?
The northern hemisphere. Apparently, the northern lights could be seen all the way to the southern states of the United States.
Actually, some reports
Wow.
actually took them all the way to Cuba. A couple people were, there was a ship that I read about, they were down near the Falkland Islands, or is it Falklands? Yeah,
Falklands.
and they saw it. And that's really south.
Say Falklands?
Yeah, Falklands.
Falklands, okay. Falklands.
Hey, look.
This is a
Look,
family
man.
show.
This is a family show.
Okay, so,
Not
okay.
really.
Not really. So, okay, so a CME, and it's what again?
Coronal mass ejection.
Coronal mass ejection. And it was enough to take out all of the tap machines back in the old
Which
days.
was the technology of the day.
Right. Okay, so we're talking in 1859. So what kind of technology would that really actually affect today? Do we have shielding and
no.
things like that?
No.
There's no shielding. No.
All your satellites are going to be fried. Crispy critters.
Okay. Once again now, because this is what I'm thinking. All right. So, I mean, it did zap like basically all of North America.
Yeah, it's like Marvin the Martian with his, what was that? Was it the Eliminator Ray?
It was the
or-
earth-shattering kaboom. Yeah, I don't know what it was, but I know it was an earth-shattering kaboom. Okay, so
He's up there right now with his big helmet.
he's just hanging out by the sun, waiting for it to happen.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so I guess the thing I'm having a hard time understanding. Like, I mean, I understand in 1859 that we're going to have everything fried. I get that, but like, you know, we ground everything now, and we have. I mean, and you're saying all the satellites, but satellites they're in orbits and they fly around and stuff.
Right, and so all this wave goes past and smacks them first.
They literally will, the astronauts and people on the space station, they're not protected enough that it will cause bodily harm to them. Our atmosphere would keep it from causing bodily harm to us, like it wouldn't be a dinosaur killing event or change the weather kind of event. But we would have so much charged particles coming through the atmosphere that the charged particles that are essentially your electricity,
right,
kind of is everywhere all the time, and so all the wires just gonna go. Bzz,
it's just kind of because like basically over.
Yeah,
It's actually happened.
it's like turning on the power everywhere from all directions all the time
At the same time.
at the same time. And then all the wires get red, hot, and melt.
We had one sometime in the 80s. I want to say it was 86. I'm not sure. Hit the earth, took out, but it was very small. It was like 1/10 of the Carrington event.
Okay.
Took out a big section of Canada, New York, and part of Russia. Now, when you get, like, you look down those long power lines, the high tension power lines,
Right.
and you get to the substations between, where
Right.
they help it travel. Well, they've got these great big, like, capacitors there.
Mhm.
And they're special made. And
Okay,
they take like a year to make. One.
that's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a long time. To
So
get
when
one.
this happened,
They don't have the capacity for anyone.
they don't have the capacity for anymore. So when this happened, all these things were destroyed. Because ultimately there's too much going through it. It goes crack, and then it's like, well, we're screwed. So,
Okay.
but the thing is that it can hit hard enough that it would be reminiscent of an EMP. So it would hit hard enough to, I don't know that it would take out all the cars. Some cars with like a little bit less of a computer in them,
Mm-hmm.
they might live. Certain things that are sitting in like basements,
Yeah.
you know, like the underground parking, maybe.
Okay.
Older vehicles should be fine.
What if
Your
the
your
car-
phone might be okay, actually, but it's still just looking at pictures or playing the game you downloaded, and until it runs out of power.
Because there's no power to recharge it.
Right.
So okay, all right. So
And your cell phone towers are toast. All those towers are toast.
Yeah.
even the ones that look like trees.
Even the ones that look like.
All right. First of all, we need to switch back to something that was said by Patrick over here earlier.
We do need to speak up a little bit, guys.
Okay, we're going to switch back over to what Patrick said a little bit earlier over here. So you said that if this happens and the astronauts that are in the space station and everything are up there, that it's enough to do bodily harm. Are we sure that it would do bodily harm, or is it going to give them superpowers?
Superpowers.
The superpowers are entirely possible,
Oh my God, I'm so glad you said that.
but
But,
they,
okay.
they supposedly have a place for just such an event on the space station for them to go and lock themselves into or something like that. They have a protected area for it.
No shit, that's awesome.
So they know what's going to happen as well. They've planned it and built that in.
Yeah, okay, so they know it's going to happen. They have it built in. The astronauts should be safe, or they're going to get superpowers, or they're going to die horrible deaths. So one of those things is going to happen. I really hope. I mean, we need a Fantastic Four, don't you think?
I feel like the superpowers. I feel like this is my chance. It's not gonna happen.
It's not going to happen.
It's not happening. Now I get to pop your bubble.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right, Bubble Papa has been dethroned.
Yes.
All right, okay. All right,
Until
so
tomorrow.
until tomorrow. So a CME has the potential. I mean, we're pretty much sure, we're guaranteed it's going to happen at some point.
At some point, we actually missed a direct hit in 2012
We know. Okay, that's pretty.
by 2 weeks.
That's not far. Yeah, that's not long. Okay, so we know that's going to happen because Hayden said so, and also because the astronauts and NASA
It
and
has a
all the
lot to
people
do
have
with what I
decided-
said, yes. Because I said so, and I am the
Well,
mom.
Yeah.
Those happen kind of on a gradient where like they can be really, really, really bad ones or they can be relatively minor ones.
That's what I was going to
And
ask.
So they happen all the time. It's
Okay.
just the vast majority of them are just like little burps, little flares, whatever.
Yeah.
But occasionally you get that.
You get the exorcist vomit.
You get the exorcist vomit coming right at the planet, and then that's when it's just a matter of time. Could happen anytime. It's just a matter of time, and then the majority of your power grid goes down, and
Right.
and then you're left with what do you do after that power grid is.
Right. And,
Okay.
and one thing that gets me about the power grid is if it goes down here, then you've got trouble over here, and eventually you're going to have trouble over there. And it just kind of ripple effects.
Yeah, that's right.
So-
So, okay, so we're saying that in the world of Break Channel 13, this is a strong possibility.
Definitely a strong possibility.
Okay, so that it would cause that kind of long-term power outage.
Oh
where-
yeah, we're
where
screwed.
we're
6
talking
ways to Sunday, man.
That if it's big enough, we're talking like years without power, at least, or maybe never coming back on again.
We're talking
Or
about
we have
somebody,
to-
somebody's got to figure that
We
out
got
later.
somebody's got to rebuild somehow, some way. Okay, all right. So what else we got?
Well, one of the things I considered is if we could think about this theoretically, and it's very theoretical that there's anyone smart in government, but theoretically there is a smart person in government
Yeah.
that has considered this also, and if they already have the raw components to put together more capacitors, more things like that, that they could assemble them and put them together and at least get key places up and running fairly quickly.
Right.
Well, here's the thing. So back in '86, they actually did have some standing by. They were destroyed too because they draw electricity.
Yeah,
So you'd have to hide them.
Yeah, once they're assembled, I think that they could then get burned up. But if you were to say build them, have them in pieces, ready to be assembled.
Yeah.
Because the hard part is once the power goes down, you need a factory to then make the pieces to make more.
Yeah, factory needs power.
Yeah. So, but also,
Oh, yeah.
all of our Navy ships are supposed to be protected against this.
Yeah, they should be basically, and there's planes that are.
Yeah, there's certain
airplanes that
bigger, better airplanes are supposed to be protected against that sort of thing, so that as they're flying, if that happens, they don't just suddenly.
Right, but not all of them.
Okay.
Right.
And the Navy ships,
Things like Navy ships and
Coast Guard should be.
theoretically certain government facilities.
You would think that it's
you
yes,
think.
yes, and you would think that submarines.
Yeah. I mean, that would make sense, especially maybe.
Right, and then well, you'd also wonder if they're down, and I don't know the answer to this. If they're down under the water, would it even affect them at all, other than the fact that they've lost their GPS?
So they're just gonna run into shit.
No, because they got if the radar is still working, then that's enclosed, an enclosed system.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense.
So
So
yeah. Okay, so we know what that is now.
right.
And we know that it could definitely have been what happened to turn off the power, shut down cars.
My big thing, and I'm just because I'm always thinking about Break Channel 13, is that always makes me wonder, like, because again, people get so isolated. We're going to be so isolated. You know, there's definitely potential that there are government facilities and certain vehicles and certain people that are already protected from all of this. And so while we're out here scrounging for food and trying to make friends and trying not to get killed by bad guys, these people are like living it up, trying to decide what to do next. So
I don't know that it'd be that easy. I mean, okay, so you're thinking, well, okay, these politicians or whatever, they might try to bring back. I mean, because they have the continuance of government plan.
yeah,
Only thing is when you have taken out all this communication, how are you communicating with your people what your intentions are? So
right. Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I wonder.
they might be in a facility, but it's not getting real good for them real fast either.
Yeah.
No truck's bringing them more.
Yeah, I understand.
So I
agree.
mean, it might be better for them, but how long does that last?
Well, I mean, that's kind of that's the thing. It's like, and I think we might get into this a little bit more on the next topic. Is just that. What is it Mike Tyson said? Everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's like, I feel like that there is a possibility that the government has been prepared. Like that they knew something like this is going to happen.
If they were
made
truly
preparations.
prepared, they could protect our grid. They could. There are things that they could do.
Right.
But they don't do.
But they won't do. And that's the thing. Like, you have to think of it. This is going to get
Well, it's
all
money.
political.
It's money.
Right. But at the same time, I mean, God, you've all seen the movies. You know, it's the end of the world, and here we're going to save the 5 scientists that know exactly how to fix everything, and the 4 doctors that are going to, you know, cure cancer, and the president and his wife, and you know what I mean? So you got the people that their contingency plan is to protect this many people.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that that's exactly what's happening. I mean, we're watching fictional movies, but let's just say that is because they know they can't protect everybody, so they're going to protect some people. So when they protect these some people, and they think that they've got it all worked out because they've got a plan, well, once everything goes to shit, then it'll fall apart, but then we'll be able to bring it back up because we have this much time. But what if that much time isn't enough? I mean, you're talking, if the CME can possibly be as bad as we are talking about, then it is possible that they're just not prepared for the long term, even if they had a plan to back up. You know what I mean? That's kind of where I'm going at.
And even if they have the best laid plans, it would take time And does society break down in that time, in the meanwhile?
Right.
Because, and that's the thing.
It's mice and men.
And do you let, you're protecting your little corner here because you know you've got to use these people with these resources to restart things. So do you let everything else just go to hell? You know that it's going to collapse. You know people are going to go primal. Do you let that happen, or do you try to help and assist, but then that depletes your resources faster? So these are just the questions that go through my mind when I think about this kind of stuff. Is like, and I don't want to use the word expendable because I don't believe that people are expendable.
Oh.
I would rather not believe that people are expendable, and that wouldn't be part of the plan.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's always that greater good thing. Do we let this many thousands of people die because we have to be able to save this many millions of people later?
Right.
So
We may not be expendable, but let's face it, not everybody's as valuable as everyone else.
Yeah, but here's
Correct.
the thing. If you say 5 scientists that can save the world, they can't. Not without
the workers to make it work.
Right. I
Yeah.
mean,
You
They need a
people-
farmer, they need a carpenter, they need
Right.
a welder.
Yeah,
I mean, you can have 5 chiefs, but if you don't have any engines,
yeah,
you got a problem.
yeah. That's true.
So it's a very real thing. A CME is going to happen.
It's a CME when we don't know,
That's up,
but it is going to
that's
happen,
up to nature.
and we can't stop it.
But up to mankind is an EMP
Yep. Or
and
the virus,
a computer virus.
a computer virus.
Computer virus.
Now I don't know how feasible this is, but it could happen but the only way that, after doing a bit more research, the only real way that they'd be able to get into multiple places is to attack multiple places, but to get into all the service providers. Meaning,
Okay.
if they went into Cox and they went into Verizon and they went into
Right, because they all have
Comcast.
their own firewalls and
Right, and
precautions.
if they could get through all that and send it into your Wi-Fi, they could send it into government Wi-Fi's too.
Yeah.
And they have to be slick as whale shit, but
I'm sure the government has a lot more fail-safes than
they do.
any of
They
the
do.
providers.
No, that's not true because Russia hacked the election.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, let's not go there.
I'm just kidding.
Nobody would have their own server in their bathroom.
Yeah.
That wouldn't happen.
Okay,
At
so-
the highest government
so-
levels.
But we're gonna say that while it is kind
That's a
of
whole other discussion.
kind of plausible, maybe not really feasible to take out. It could not. How's it gonna take out everybody's car?
Right.
So
I think for me, the computer virus is along that spectrum. If you could affect enough people for long enough that, again, the
societal breakdown.
Yeah, society breaks down. The gas stations aren't pumping.
Yeah.
Things happen. There's enough panic going on, and if you can start stirring up a panic in a city, it's like spreads like wildfire.
I mean,
You
fire.
don't even have to knock out electricity to do that. Just knock out the internet.
Right.
Knock out the internet alone.
Okay, so
and it's
on
gonna
that
make
note,
everything go crazy.
we move on to the next part of this discussion, which is, what's your first heads up?
Oh.
Okay, so the shit has hit the fan, meaning maybe there was a bright shiny thing. Maybe it happened at 4 a.m. and you were asleep, or you weren't, but inside.
Yeah.
What is wrong with this cardiology analyzer machine that keeps going down?
So,
Hey, why isn't anybody watching our podcast?
okay, is that what it is? Nobody's on here.
That's funny because nobody is.
I am, and I'm loving it.
We still have a live audience.
Yes, we have a live audience.
That's right. Okay.
Okay,
The first
what is your first
clue.
heads up that this is something that's bigger than just a power outage?
What's my first heads up that this is more than just a power outage?
Right. I mean, because we've seen the internet go down. Phone service providers can suck. Don't.
I mean, if I roll up to Mary Washington Hospital and their internet's down,
That's common.
That's common. Yeah.
Starbucks, all the places that have internet like all the time,
Okay, but let's say you're at home in your home in the woods. Okay.
Yeah,
And
I would think it's a typical day.
right. Yeah, exactly, because the internet's gone down.
Right.
Surprise. Power's out, but that could happen.
Then I'd look to see who all was home.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway, go on.
So we're gonna say it happened at 4 a.m.
Okay, everybody's sleeping.
Everybody's
It
sleeping.
went down.
It went down.
It's a clear night.
Right. But because your phone, let's say your computer was not plugged in. Because if
Okay.
your computer was plugged in, it's not turning on again.
Okay.
Right. But we'll say your phone was not charging. So you get everything that's on there, but you have no service. I mean, a guy like you, it's not going to take long, I don't think.
Well, I mean, because of where I'm at, it would take me longer to realize how big it was.
Right.
Yeah, if you're out,
Because-
in the woods, you're
Yeah,
not.
because of
because,
where
I
we
mean-
are and how hit and miss the internet is anyway,
Yeah.
it would take more time.
You go out to start your car, it doesn't start. You're like, what the fuck?
That would be like, oh, what the hell? I just replaced the damn starter and spent a lot of time doing it.
Yeah.
And you see where your mind went. It didn't go with power's out, my internet's out, and now my freaking car won't start. So you still haven't connected the dots to go, what the hell?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and the power is completely out and it's not coming back on.
I mean, that could happen.
Yeah.
You could have a power outage for a few hours.
Whereas if you lived in New York City, and all of a sudden all the horns stop beeping, all the traffic light stops.
Yeah.
Entire city blocks go dark.
Just
And
go
yeah,
dark.
all the lights go
And
dark.
they've had rolling blackouts, and it's like, panic ensues.
But those
But
cars
the
don't
cars are still working, and there's still
Right.
some signs of
Yeah.
electricity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
But when things go really, really dark, I mean, besides the fact that 9 months later there's a baby boom,
stop. Right.
Yeah.
There is
things
that.
go really, really dark.
And that's going to be part of the next part of this question.
So, well, basically,
What do
then,
you do
the
next?
more populated the area is, the faster people are going to realize this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, if you're even living in a neighborhood, and everybody gets up and goes out to start their car
mean,
in the morning,
If
and
it's an
nobody's able to
EMP,
start their car,
Something's
we're
up.
all like, what the hell's going on,
Yeah.
if it's an
Yeah.
EMP, these probably won't even turn on whether they were plugged in or not. They're probably all
Right.
fried.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
everything's fried if it's EMP.
Right. So I think with an EMP, you're pretty quick. Even if you were asleep, you didn't see it.
Yeah.
You were far enough away to, not see it. Of course, you didn't get the news because nobody's calling anybody,
Right.
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So,
So with an EMP, there's no signs of electricity anywhere.
right.
With a CME, there could be signs of electricity, but
Right.
it would be things like your phone would turn on, it just wouldn't necessarily work,
Exactly.
which would prolong thinking, well, everything's okay. Or a
You'd have,
little boom.
Right.
you'd have
Little-
lingering
Yeah.
power that would
Right.
kind of,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I mean, yes, you'd have some things that would work. I mean, we'll talk about the things that would work in a different episode, but
And then in a computer virus, what you would just have, like, your phone would work, yours may not. That might work, but this may not. So it'll be even more confusing.
right,
Yeah.
you wouldn't
But-
know.
But certain things would work and appear to be normal. Other things would be
And
different.
I think that if it was a computer virus, I do think that the government will be capable of getting the word out
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
say some shit hit the fan
Well,
and
everyone's staying.
You
everybody's
bring up a good
compromised.
point about the how some would work, some wouldn't work, because I remember when the high winds were happening for a while, we had really high winds. I was driving a cab, and up in Stafford, the Sprint towers like went down.
Yeah.
There was
Sprint.
nothing, and Sprint was the only one that had to deal with that. And I mean, there was absolutely nothing.
Just having a good time with
And
it.
not only Sprint, it was because of the piggybacking. There was Sprint,
Right.
T-Mobile, Boost, all of them were gone. But AT&T worked just fine. Verizon worked just fine.
Just saying. Yeah. So,
Supposedly on 9/11, I'm not exactly sure why, but 9/11 Blackberries worked, but the other phones didn't in New York. I don't know if that's a volume
Has to be,
issue.
maybe.
Yeah, I would think it's a
But-
volume issue. That's what I understood. I was in Quantico when that happened, and all the cell phones, even on Quantico, were like, they were working,
Oh my god.
but they were busy. They were, you
Right,
couldn't get
right.
through to anybody because the cells were all busy. What's this? What's this?
Oh my God,
Well-
they're smashed in there. Why are you
It's not
smashed?
my fault.
I'll eat them in pieces. I don't care.
Even when we had that minor earthquake a few years ago, what was that, 2014, 15?
11?
Yeah, more like 11.
Was it 11?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was a while back.
Okay, well, I remember we were at work and, we had the earthquake and it was a mess. And it was quick, people were quick to panic because nobody could call anybody. And it wasn't because any electrical thing happened. It was just the fact that everybody was trying to check on everybody. So
Right.
all the lines were overloaded. But just standing outside with the people that were in the building, and for some reason we all went outside, which was not what we were supposed to do, but everybody's outside, they're all trying to make phone calls, nobody can make phone calls, and the panic on people's faces was just like, it was insane, it's amazing how quick people start to panic when they,
That's what you were supposed to do in an earthquake, is go outside.
not when you're inside of a glass building.
Hmm.
Oh yeah.
When you go outside and the glass starts shattering, it rains down on top of you and kills you.
Inside. So why wouldn't you
No,
go outside?
No, outside. Inside, you can go to the middle of the building and you can be supported by beams and rafters
And then
all
later,
that stuff.
people who do what I used to do can come and find you in the rubble.
And that, if you're outside and all the windows start to break on the outside, it just rains down glass on people and then you end up cut up and dead.
Okay.
Look,
Because if you go in, it's just like a hurricane or a tornado. You go to a place, you go to a small room
Well,
where
I can see that. There's
Yeah.
wind involved. But in an earthquake, it would just.
no, because the beams and everything that are there, they help to support the weight of the
okay,
building.
we're not here to fight about earthquake reactions.
Anywho, okay, fine. So, if it's a glass building, stay inside, Mike.
He wants you to die, man.
I don't want you to die, and I don't want you to be all cut up and gross. So,
Okay, but we've already kind of got into the next part of the question, which is the psychological impact. What's the reaction? Right off the bat. So you're already saying it's panic.
yeah, I mean, people. If you're at a place where there's a lot of people, when the normal things stop happening, panic.
Right.
And it may not be, everybody freaks out and starts, killing each other or anything, but it's definitely a panic. Actually, I think the first thing that happens is people sort of come together. They're like, is your phone working? Is your phone working? Whatever the thing is, like they kind of come together trying to figure out what's going on. But there's low level panic all the time. All we had to hear was the hurricane's coming and then all the milk disappears. It's the same thing.
Right.
Milk bread. No.
Right.
You
Shouldn't
can't
I
live
get
without.
anxiety when the internet goes out of my house.
That's
See?
you.
I mean,
That's you.
yeah.
But-
I mean, well, I have a
Okay,
13-year-old son,
So
and our internet went out for one whole 14-hour period, and you would have thought the world was over. I mean, literally, it was the worst thing that ever happened to
That's a
him.
long time.
see, look at him. He's
He's my 13-year-old son right now.
right. He is over there, like totally sympathizing with this kid.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
I mean, it does
Okay,
it
so-
changes everything.
So let's look at it from that perspective. So generally, we're expecting panic.
Right.
What's your first response?
What, to not having the internet or power or anything
Everything's
like
off.
that? Everything that I
Now-
have is
now,
electronic.
I guess
Everything
part
have
of
is
it-
internet.
Part of it depends on where you're at, I think.
No, not really, because I mean, everything that, even if I'm out and about, I'm on my phone somehow. I mean, not while I'm driving,
Right.
but if I'm out and about, I'm on my phone. I take pictures, I talk on Facebook. So yeah, if the internet goes down and the power's out, I'm pretty bored. And bored leads to anxiety, and anxiety leads to possible murder. It depends. I don't know.
That's me. I'm bored.
This
Who do
is
we
the path to
kill?
The dark side.
I would freak out. For a while. I would eventually, because I went without internet at one time, I could go back to that.
Right. We're all of the age of
Yeah.
before these.
But can you imagine what teenagers would be like?
20-something-year-olds would.
Yeah, they'd lose their freaking
Yeah.
mind.
They don't have to do anything. They can't even write a check.
I would lose my mind
So-
for a little while. No doubt. You can't use your money. Your debit card is useless.
Well, and here, this is another thing, and I'm just going to bring it up real quick. We can stay on if you want, but I'm just saying, what the fuck is up with all the digital content? How come I can't go and buy a CD anymore?
You can. once it hits the $5 bin at Walmart.
Exactly. I mean, we were talking about this the other day at work, and everything is going to digital, and everybody thinks, oh, this is great because you're using less resources, blah, blah, blah. Well, for one thing, it still costs the same as when you buy the actual disc, and I think that's shitty. And secondly, if the internet goes down, everything that you bought is gone.
That's what you got
Gone.
with it.
Gone.
Well, it doesn't matter if it's on a disc. That's a EMP or CMP.
DVD won't work. TV won't work to watch it.
You have to
I'm
have.
just saying.
You have to have the music in your head.
Oh, God.
It's just
See,
gotta
and that's
be
the other
there.
messed up thing.
I got an old LP and I can spin the record.
You
just
slowly,
sit there.
and I can sit.
If you listen real close, the needle will make noise.
We'll make pedal machines.
But I mean,
You mean like Gilligan's Island?
okay, let's say the internet goes down and you have like 4 or 5 teenagers sitting around. They're not going to know what to do with themselves because me personally, okay, you said that about the earthquake. What's the first thing I did? I Googled
You
it.
Googled it.
You were right, but I Googled it. I was
Was I
able
really
to get
right?
online and find the answer.
I love it how you weren't going to tell me that I was right.
I didn't. I just did.
No, you weren't going to, though. Ow.
Ow!
We've had a couple interesting
Ha! I
events.
capped your ass.
Oh my god.
Oh.
But I mean, yeah, my first go-to is to get on the computer or my phone and ask the question.
Right.
What's going on? What is this happening?
We've had a couple interesting events in history that can give you an idea of what would happen. Hurricane Katrina and Hurricane Sandy. There's a natural event that we knew was coming, and when it hit New Orleans, all form of communication went down, all form of law enforcement went out the window. There were even videos of police officers loading crap up from Walmart into their cruiser.
Isn't that amazing?
Like
Remember seeing
they
that.
went to the dark side in a hurry. So if you think that they're going to help you, that's ridiculous.
So what you're saying is, next time there's a hurricane on the coast, join the police force.
There you go. They got the
Who's going to
goods.
stop you, right?
But also Hurricane Sandy. What was not in a lot of the newspapers and media at the time was gangs are already organized and they're already in gangs. What they do is they generally don't chat with each other online. They usually hang out and they're like, hey dude, let's go to that house and take what we want.
Mm.
And that's what they start doing is they just start going door to door and taking what they want, and you can't call for help. You can't do anything about it. And they just kind of go where they want and do what they want. And I think that's where you start to quickly see a panic
Yeah.
kind of going out. But it doesn't happen, kind of getting back to your comment of where you are, that didn't happen when the hurricanes hit in other places. And so when a hurricane has come across North Carolina and other places, you didn't see, all the vacationers turning on each other as they go across the Bay Bridge or whatever. It kind of depends. And so the natural disasters, EMPs, whatever, when the power goes out and lawlessness breaks out, it depends a lot of where you are as to what you're going to do about it and how fast you hear about it. So it's like a situational awareness.
Right. Which is important.
God, that would be a great kind of thing to look into. What's culture, but what is the sense of community that people have? Some areas
Diminished?
some people are very close. I mean,
The LA riots
Yeah.
after the earthquake.
yeah, I mean, in some areas, you basically can expect that shit's going to go bad. I mean, because of the culture of the area. I mean,
Right.
city life is completely different than country life, and
I don't know though, because in the city you'll still have those little neighborhoods
mhm,
that are like, let's all band together in the building or whatever.
yeah,
And in the country, yeah, a lot of people take care of their neighbors, but at the same time, a lot of people, you come over here, I'm going to kill you.
yeah, that's true too.
So I mean,
That's why it's good to know your neighbors.
Yeah,
right?
I got great neighbors. I think we would all band together.
I got one that's good.
4 of our houses.
The rest of them,
would
I'm
be
taking their
okay.
shit. Just kidding.
You're taking the drill press.
That drill press is mine. I should have never left it.
Should have never left it. Okay, so
So, what's your initial reaction? Are you like, okay, I'm panicking? Or
Well-
what's your first thought? Is it, I gotta get home? Is it, where am I, what is it?
If I'm at work, and the grid completely goes down and the building goes dark.
Right.
Well,
you have backup
we
generators.
have backup generators.
Right.
So if our backup generators and our machines that have battery packs in them, if they all quit, then I quickly realize this is an electrical event
Of magnitude.
of serious magnitude. But then it becomes kind of a thing of, do you abandon ship? Because, if you work someplace like police, law enforcement, fire and rescue,
Right.
Yeah.
at what point are you honor bound here or versus honor bound to your family,
Mm-hmm.
that sort of thing.
Right.
Our studio audience is saying I should go home as quickly as possible. But I think that, that's
She's our studio guy.
that's kind of a tough call. When do you start to say?
Yeah.
So I guess
time
for
to get?
you, it would kind of almost depend on what are you facing? What do you have on your hands right there in front of you at the moment?
Yeah, if I think this is just a computer virus and we have some things working, you might work, trying to find out what's going on, because we have the emergency rooms have radio
Right.
communication systems that are supposed to be part of a DC
Right.
Metro communication.
Yeah.
But if even that is going down,
Right.
I think that's when I think reasonably should say it's time to turn the lights off.
Sure, but I think what I'm
Go
saying
home.
is because, when you work in emergency services of any sort, if you've got your hands full at the moment, so it would almost depend on what's sitting in front of you in regards of, are you looking at an injured child that came in before all
Right.
this happened?
Right.
You
Right.
may stay for that.
There are some people in the hospital who are going to sit there bagging a patient because there's no electricity
Right.
and the ventilator
Yeah.
stopped working.
Yep.
At some point,
You have to stop. You can't be
When
there
you
forever.
stop, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's a decision that has to be made. So that's a tough one, and I think that could cause like a instant of kind of a form of PTSD, where you're just like,
Yeah.
I have to make this decision.
Yeah.
And how about you?
Well,
First thought. Let's say you're all the way out in Westmoreland, because you got stuff doing that.
which does happen, folks.
Right. So you're all the way out there. The car dies. Now, you can't get in touch with anybody. What are your first thoughts? All the street lights are out.
Well, I think initially, you're not alone out there. You're in Westmoreland, so it's kind of alone. But there will be there will be other people experiencing the same thing. And yeah, it's a tough. I think it's a tough thing to really call. I think
How long does it take you before you start walking?
if I see that nobody is going anywhere, I'm starting to walk.
You are
immediately.
sitting there going click, click, click. You got nothing.
Yep. I'm going to look for the next. I'm going to look for a way to get home. That's what I'm thinking. If I know the car is not going to start, nobody else's car is going to start, there's no phone, there's no nothing, then I'm starting to walk immediately. Because
Now, are you going back to work, or are you gonna? Well, I guess you would, because your vehicle would be there, and you'd want to try it.
yeah, I definitely want to try my own stuff. Plus, you go back to work because it's familiar for one thing, and in my case, it's closer
Right.
than going all the way home. And I don't have a lot of things at work, but I do have some things at work that I would want to
Sure.
grab and have with me, so that for my trek home,
You already walked
Oh,
20 miles, 30
Yeah.
miles.
yeah. So, actually, I may even go there just to rest because it's a place that I know, and I know
Right.
that I know what to expect there. So I think I would go there and maybe
Maybe.
rest.
Maybe. So it just dawned on me. All these door locks,
They stopped working. I was thinking the same thing.
they stop working,
Yeah.
so it's easy to invade that building at that
Yeah.
point unless somebody has flipped.
Well,
Is it
Somebody
easy
has-
to invade or is it harder to get in?
No, they're
Well, they're locked though. When the power goes off, they're locked.
Like our back
Oh, okay.
door,
Okay.
So
you know, the back door, back entrance,
So you gotta bash
be
windows.
gone.
right.
Well,
The only thing
that
about
would
it,
work.
well, I
Battery
don't know
powered.
though, because to be honest, those are electronic magnets.
See, that's what I thought. I thought they were magnetic,
It's
and
a
that
magnetic
being
lock.
the case, they're not.
So if the power goes out, the magnet will only have, you know, minimal strength, if any.
Like a refrigerator magnet.
Right. So I wouldn't stay there long. Not with all the
Well, you can
footprints
barricade
already
it.
hanging out down there.
You could barricade it.
Yeah, you could.
All right, if you're at work and you're thinking of coming my direction, just stop off at the Klein's ice cream place and get me some. As you're heading my way.
He's like, just
Just grab you a bucket of something on the way.
Doesn't matter what it is.
just hook a brother up, man.
Yeah. Good
Uh-huh.
call.
Now, me,
Won't last long. It'll be melted by the time I get to you.
so I'm the psycho of the group.
Because you would start killing people immediately?
I'm the one that always.
I just don't understand why he would do that.
What? I'm not doing that.
Oh, okay.
She would just stop hiding the bodies.
Right.
Well,
Because I'm the one that basically always has a bag with her.
okay, but hold on a second. Before we go any further, I just want to say this one thing. When it comes to people, it's hard to trust people
Truth.
in any situation. And
That is
that's just me, okay?
No, I agree.
You know, nobody be offended. But, so I think that when I think that's why I start walking. Like a lot of people would
Yeah.
panic and they freak out and they want to get together and like, what can we do? And at first I would probably say, so how's everybody doing? Everybody okay? Everybody know what's going on? And then while they're trying to figure out what to do next, that's when I start walking. And they're gonna be like, where are you going? I'm like, I'm going home. You know?
Yeah.
So, which is, I don't know, some people might find that off-putting, but that's just the way I am.
No, see, if I was at work, then I'm gonna have one question. I'm gonna be like, okay, to my cohort in crime. Well, one of them has no choice. I'm just gonna be like, dude, we got to go. The other one, my cohort in crime, I'm gonna say, where's your husband? And the reason being is because I need to know which way I'm going.
Yeah.
Am I taking her home or am I taking her to him? You know, and that's a decision. But I know I'm walking, and I know I have the things to make it, and I know I can defend myself, you know, and the people who are with me.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes me the psycho because I'm the one that'd be going, wait, it's dead, Jim. And I'm like,
It's so funny because
Captain, you can't take
when
much
you
more of this.
root your phone and you hack Androids a lot, when it stops working completely and it's completely useless, they call it a brick.
Yeah.
You bricked your phone.
Yeah.
It'd
Yeah.
pretty much be bricks.
Yeah, it would.
Nice paperweight.
Yeah, they collect them so you can build a house.
So one thing, if you know, where we have an advantage over millennials, is in your travels, you're walking home, look for a 1980s car with a,
Sure.
with
Yeah.
a clutch.
Yeah.
yep, roll
Because-
start that beast.
Yeah, because you can clutch start it, and now you have moving transportation, which puts you miles and miles
Right, you just have to-
technologically above everybody
You're
else.
just gonna have to break the ignition, which means you just need a screwdriver.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much. I mean, they're easy to hotwire and clutch start, and
Yep.
and then you're on your way.
Yeah.
Which millennials, you know,
What's a stick?
right?
Actually, even if they know how to drive it, they probably don't know how to pop
start.
clutch. Yeah.
They don't know that you can do that.
Yeah.
They-
Right.
they
So
literally
why the
don't
hell
know
did we
that.
just tell them?
They still don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah. What's a clutch?
What's a clutch?
Pop? What?
Pop start. What?
Yeah, that's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I'm gonna be looking for that 70-something Chevelle.
Well,
Yeah.
You'll see my little feet sticking out as I'm hot wiring that beast.
Oh, we could drive my son's go-kart. What about those kind of vehicles? Most of them don't have any computers or electricity.
yeah, go-karts and things like that would work.
Yeah.
God, Mikey's gonna be on my damn mower.
There you go.
Where'd Mikey go? Just follow the cut grass.
I'm gonna be like Forrest Gump on my lawnmower.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
What are these guys do? They're having mower races. Really?
Like a bunch of
Well, I mean that makes sense.
I'm only
though,
driving the
because,
mower to the nearest golf cart.
I'm just driving.
even in the show, they're driving bikes, and a lot of motorcycles don't have the same electronics that cars have.
The older ones don't.
Right, none of them do. So,
right. Well, some of the newer ones.
Yeah, the newer ones do, but
Right.
the older ones
The older
don't
ones
have anything. I mean, they took a long time to catch up with the electronics compared to passenger vehicles and things like that.
Absolutely.
So,
hopefully people will comment on this as they see it. Kind of want to know your questions, your thoughts. What would you do?
This is also going to be a podcast. It will be turned into a podcast by tonight.
Right.
yeah.
And-
Yep, I already got it figured out.
And it'll be YouTube.
YouTube it.
So
Yeah, YouTube.
this is an every 2 week gathering.
Every 2 weeks.
So it's
Every
not
2 weeks.
Right. So it's not
Okay.
coming out again next week, but the week after. Everybody have a happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Wait. I just wanted to say that the season finale of Break Channel 13 is coming out tonight. So check that out. The episode is called You Don't Know Jack, which you really don't. I think she's a little psycho. Also, like and subscribe on your favorite app for podcasting. You can check out WatershedZProductions.com.
Oh, and hey.
And the t-shirts.
Check out this shirt. Can you see it?
Yep.
Can you see
There's
it?
no power anywhere.
No
No
power
power
anywhere. Yeah, it's
anywhere.
backwards
No
on
power.
the camera, but you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, no power anywhere. You can get that t-shirt by letting us know that you want one.
And we'll set up the link. We'll put it on Facebook.
Okay, and it's useful in more than one way. It's not just about Break Channel 13 because these days there's really no power anywhere, politically or anything.
You're gonna make me cry a little bit, man.
Don't cry. Don't cry. And that's the artist, and that's why he wants to cry. So it's all good.
So
But
Well, the funny thing is this is our first time officially doing this, but we have these kind of conversations all the time. So, you never know what's going to come up next.
next week or 2 weeks, you guys will probably be able to hear us better, and the camera work might be a little bit better. So
Yeah, we're just trying to get used to all this stuff, so we're not. We were just talking about how millennials can't drive a stick. Well, we can't figure out how this shit works.
but we need to find a millennial.
no,
No.
don't feel entitled.
Oh.
Mikey has done an excellent job. He's done a good job of figuring out how to make all this work, and everybody, I appreciate it.
So yeah, thanks for joining us. Hopefully you guys get the opportunity to comment. Anything you do comment, we'll probably come back later. I know a lot of people couldn't come in today because of what time it is and whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
Gabe. I mean, JD.
Hey, but Robin's watching.
Right. So anyway, again, happy Thanksgiving,
Happy Thanksgiving.
and thanks for joining us.
Later.
That was awesome. Very good. It's gonna listen several times.